Innovation is tough at the best of times, and creating a nearshore innovation team is really tough. We know what a great team looks like, but how do you go about creating one? What are the different pieces of the puzzle you need, and how do you fit them all together? There are so many questions to ask, such as what are the skills you're going to need, and what are the characteristics of the individuals you want to hire? What is the most appropriate software development methodology to choose in order to develop this high-performing, innovative team? To help you succeed and to help avoid the mistakes of others, we looked at our experiences of over 200 successful projects to identify 5 best practices to consider when building your team. Firstly, make sure to keep the team size limited to 7 to 10 members. The typical Scrum team will have 1 Scrum Master, 5 to 7 development engineers, and 2 to 3 quality assurance engineers. A good rule of thumb is to add 1 QA for every 2 developers, which is a sweet spot for productivity. Secondly, find the best talent, but remember the importance of culture. Most likely you will be working with team members distributed across geographies, and it's therefore crucial to develop a unique culture that brings out the best in people. When selecting individuals for the team, make sure they're well suited to collaborative work, particularly when the team is not physically sitting together. For example, personality traits such as flexibility, communication skills, and self-reliance and motivation will all likely be on your list. Just as the well-known quote from Peter Drucker states, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." Thirdly, decide on the software development methodology. The software development methodology has implications for how teams perform and the coordination between the client and the provider. The first step is agreeing on a methodology or a version of one. Just stating that you will use Agile can mean very different things depending on the organization's interpretation of Agile. Fourthly, outline the roles and responsibilities on both the client side and the vendor side. Roles and responsibilities which are not clearly expressed and understood by both sides of the relationship create noise and friction that decreases the productivity of the team. The classic roles that a company will need in a development project are a Scrum Master, a team lead, a subject matter expert, the development engineer, the UI and UX developer or graphic designer, and the quality assurance engineer. And lastly and fifthly, put in place clear practices for communication for team members. Communication is a critical but often overlooked factor in project success. Effective communication, particularly in teams which are distributed across different locations and geographies, simply does not happen without appropriate guidelines. To find out more about creating a high-performing nearshore innovation team, download Balactrus' full white paper, 5 Best Practices to Build a Nearshore Innovation Team.